Smelly cat, smelly cat. Hello, I am Shruti Pisharody and I am INSEAD 20J.
Hi Shruti, so can you tell us how you ended up at INSEAD?
Interesting question. This is a funny story, but so I'm from, you might guess, an Indian family. And the moment I got my first job, I was 20 years old. I moved out of my family house for the first time, and I'm literally just setting up my bed. And my mom calls and she says, "Okay, so you got your first job. Now when are you doing your master's?" And that's how I started thinking about business school. But as I met more people at my workplace and outside, and I met what MBAs are like, I thought this was cool and something I wanted to do. And I started exploring what business schools are out there. And I had the chance to visit a few in the US. I never visited INSEAD, but I just kind of knew from speaking to people and just knowing also the uniqueness of INSEAD being a global school that that's where I wanted to go. And here I am, and I've never regretted it.
Awesome. So you say that your mom called you and said that to you. Do you have any other siblings, or what's your relationship like with your parents?
It's just me. So yeah, I'm one of those weird only kids. I think, I have a special relationship with my parents. We're best friends. They're super supportive. Neither of them has had a corporate life. So it's interesting because I don't really follow in their footsteps in that sense, but they are extremely supportive, and I feel incredibly blessed.
Did you grow up in India? What was your childhood like?
I grew up in Delhi. It was fun. There are some things about Delhi right now that aren't the best, but it's a beautiful city. It has amazing history. It's just a bus ride away from the Himalayas, I think. That's the saving grace of Delhi even today. So honestly, I never left Delhi until I was 20. And then I moved to another Indian city for a while. But in that sense, INSEAD is really the first time I've stepped out of India and learned so much and seen so much and traveled so much.
What did you study in school and college?
Well, I studied finance. And 3 years of finance was enough to tell me that finance is not my thing. But I was in Delhi University, and that's when I truly discovered my passion for music and for community and for art. And I think, even a bit for business outside of hardcore finance roles. And I think that also shaped my decision to be at INSEAD to pursue a business degree.
It seems like you have a passion for music and nature. Could you tell us more about it?
Yeah, I think when I imagine my life after INSEAD, my family, my partner, my friends are a very important part. But the other thing that comes to mind apart from a successful career is music. That's something that I never want to let go of. And nature. Wherever I end up living, I hope that I'm lucky enough to be close to nature and to experience it in its pristine glory.
Wow. So what keeps you going here at INSEAD?
This is, you're probably going to say is the most cliche thing ever, but it really is the people. And, I think, so all business schools will say they're diverse. And I guess they are, but I think there's a difference between diversity that comes from your non-chosen variables of life and the kind of self-selecting diversity that INSEAD has. I think that just by virtue of being at INSEAD, you are more likely to be someone who actually wants to get out of their comfort zone, travel, learn a new language, meet people who are not from their same culture. And I think that's the kind of diversity INSEAD has, rather than just, your surface level passport or language diversity.
Yeah, so is that what you're gonna be taking away from INSEAD?
I think so. So I think that's one of the largest things I hope to take away from INSEAD. As ironic as it sounds, despite the crazy nature of the 10 months that we have, and the 500 people that we meet, it's a really good time for self-reflection. I have not been very good at that just naturally, doesn't come naturally to me, but I actually have begun to develop that a lot at INSEAD, and I hope to take that away, to continue doing that, to get better at that. as I leave INSEAD.
I happen to know randomly that you have a partner. So what's life at INSEAD been, having a long distance relationship?
Yeah. Well, outside of INSEAD, long distance, not the best thing in the world. But it's something that we both signed up for. My partner is very supportive, and we were colleagues, and we're about the same age, so he does understand what we're doing, and we both are in it for the long haul. But I would be lying if I said it's easy and that there aren't moments where I, double guess my decision to have come here and taken this time away from him. I think if you are lucky enough to have your partner with you or geographically close to you, I think that can be a great anchor and a great reality check when you're in the bubble that is INSEAD. I unfortunately don't have that, so I do my best to keep in touch virtually. But what I will say is that I think INSEAD, just by virtue of being a slightly more mature business school, if you will, you have a lot of comrades in the long distance relationship struggle. So you'll feel, you won't feel alone in that sense, and you make great friends. It's a great community. Being in Ponty, it's a tiny, sleepy town. You actually bond with your friends even more. So in that sense, you won't feel alone. You'll miss your partner a lot, but you'll never be alone.
You also mentioned that you've gotten a chance to reflect a lot during your INSEAD journey. What is one of the biggest things that you've observed or learned while being here?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot that has made me think. And one of the things that has been a gradual and continuous learning for me is understanding my ambiversion. So this is a new term that I learned at INSEAD, and I've gotten so much better, and it's been great for me. I've gotten so much better at knowing when I'm ready to be my extrovert self and when I need to take time for myself and recharge. And as simple as that sounds, I think it's life-changing. And yeah, I think being in this supercharged pressure cooker environment where everyone wants to learn and develop and help you develop does actually help you learn more about yourself and see yourself better.
Cool. So people tend to travel a lot at INSEAD. And are there any particular trips that really stayed with you?
Yeah, I don't know if this is recency bias, but I think one of the most amazing trips I've been to during INSEAD, or maybe in my life, was a trip to Israel. So this was a semi-educational trek, so it was organized actually by the school, and it's worth the credit. And so we visited the startup ecosystem as well as the PEVC ecosystem in Israel, learned a bit about the culture, experienced the natural beauty in the history. And I think not only because Israel is just such an amazing and interesting country, but the fact that you're experiencing this with a group that is so diverse in itself and is so curious and just accepting is what makes the experience even more rich than if I had just gone as a tourist. And of course, because it's INSEAD, you have access to these things that you wouldn't have if you went just as a tourist. And so I think that's been something that I really will cherish.
And would recommend?
I would highly recommend.
What was your job before INSEAD? What were you doing, and did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. I joined Google as an undergrad, so right out of college, and my first role was speaking one-on-one with Google customers. It was pretty challenging because sometimes you would have these amazing interactions where the customer loves Google and loves its products, and then you would have some where the customer isn't that happy with Google, understandably so. And here I was, a 20-year-old on the phone with, a small business owner in the US or in Australia who's really annoyed that thousands of dollars have gone down the drain and such like that. But it was really interesting and I think a great learning experience for me. I've been at Google for 5 years in a few different capacities. Most recently, I was in an operations and program management kind of role. And what I loved about this was I was managing scaled teams who helped small businesses all over the world come online, optimize their web presence. And so I think whatever I do, even after INSEAD, I would really enjoy having that direct or indirect connection with the consumer, with the magic touch of technology. I think that's what makes me excited.
What has been the biggest challenge for you at INSEAD?
I won't be surprised if this is what you hear from everyone, but it's prioritizing. It's prioritizing your time and knowing what to do, because there is no way to do it all. And kind of implicitly within that is also having the right balance between going with the flow and being intentional about what you do, because I think all of us are here to grow and to change, but also be true to yourself. So it gets to be a kind of tricky balance between the two, and knowing when to step out of your comfort zone and when things are just not okay anymore. That's also, I think, a muscle that you'll need to flex at INSEAD, and hopefully, I think, for those who end up coming here, that's something that you'll get to practice a lot, and I'm sure will help you a lot in life.
You're a very active member of the Women in Business Club at INSEAD. What do you think is the biggest obstacle to INSEAD achieving a better gender balance in its student body?
Yeah, I think one thing that we struggle with, and I think one of the reasons we are not at par with some of our American peer schools is that we are a school that has a higher average age. And unfortunately, the reality is that women tend to, at more advanced ages, not be able to take out a year of their life or 2 years of their life for business school. And I think what INSEAD is trying to do in order to bring the balance closer to 50-50 or 40-60, which is the golden standard today, is to really understand what kind of support and community women at INSEAD needs, especially women who are perhaps married and have children. And I think we see some very inspiring moms and dads at INSEAD today. And I think they set a great example for a woman who might be looking to build a family and is perhaps apprehensive of coming to INSEAD for that reason. I have nothing but respect for those parents who are at INSEAD, and I would say talk to them, and they're doing it, so I think it's possible.
Awesome. What have been some of your favorite moments at INSEAD? Most memorable?
Oh, so many, but I think, yeah, I'm biased to say some of our music nights. And yeah, it's not just because I love music, and that's not unique to INSEAD, but what was very INSEAD about those experiences is people coming in from various backgrounds. We had music in all different languages, and just the spirit of the entire room throbbing with energy, and everyone singing along and dancing along, and it's just beautiful experience. Yeah, I would highly recommend come to our next gig.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So to conclude, what would be your message to future INSEADers or just aspiring Indian women or just any human being who might find something relatable in your journey?
Yeah. Well, I would say if you are coming to INSEAD or you're considering applying, try to know why you want to do it. But also be prepared for your entire reasoning and thought process to be completely upturned. That's okay and that's good, but I'm a strong believer that you should come in knowing what it's going to be and what it might mean for you, not just right after INSEAD, but I think once you're here, it's kind of a lifelong community that you're part of, and a lifelong family that you're part of and that you have ties with. So I think that's something that I would recommend that you consider.
And one thing to avoid?
I think if you're at INSEAD, I would hope that you avoid having a closed mindset. Not just because of what that means for others around you, but mostly about what it means for you yourself. I think you won't take away the INSEAD experience and the INSEAD value if you want to open up your mind and be receptive to everyone that's here.
Thank you so much.